All right, so today I have received a couple of messages and a phone call about another YouTube channel that is saying some things that's not true. And so I want to, about me. So I want to clarify some stuff, and basically we fixing to take this guy to school because he needs some schooling. So stay tuned, we're gonna get into it. All right, so he starts his video and he's making some claims that I have absolutely no clue where he even come up with this fantasy. So let's see what he's got to say.
And I recently seen 3 videos from 3 different YouTube creators. They're in a machine shop business creating the actual camshafts for this endeavor. I want to address one of the things with that, with the regrinding of different camshafts. The second one we're going to be talking about.
So he says regrinding of camshafts. He goes on in the video to say that all 3 of my entries are regrinds. Now, I don't know where he come up with that, and if he actually watched any of my videos, he would clearly understand that we manufacture brand new camshafts on American-made billet cores. I mean, our website is full. There is an entire cam section for brand new billet roller cams on our website. So the only thing that I can just assume is that he seen some of our regrind videos on YouTube, because you know regrinding is a big part of our business, because people send us a lot of these expensive higher end billet rollers that have been damaged and need repair, and it's half price or even less than half price a lot of times to repair these cams versus buying a new one. And sometimes core availability and all that. And so that's the gist to start with. And then he goes on and another guy sent me a screenshot of some of the comments, and where's my phone at? Let me read. So let me read from the comments under this video, because I was sent a screenshot of this, and we'll put it on the screen. So a guy named Ben Thomas, who is obviously much smarter than this guy making this video, he says, you are aware that there are different types of cam blanks, a full circle billet core. So what he's referring to is a spool. So in the camshaft world, and I'm going to link it in the video. We'll put it on the screen right here. You can go watch this video and learn all about cores. I go through the different materials, the different kind of cores, but this guy is talking about a full spool. He calls it a full circle billet core. It's a very rarely used thing. He's absolutely correct. The only time that we use a spool is when somebody wants some off-the-wall specs that no UGL core is available for. So a UGL, again, watch the core video. A UGL is unground lobe. Matter of fact, while we standing here, we're gonna show you one. So that, and I'm gonna pull a spool. I think I'm gonna pull a spool. Okay, so This is a LS, brand new, never been ground UGL. And you can see the lobes are dark where they've been heat treated. It's been rough milled. It's been straightened. It's been ground. The mains have been ground. This is what we and every other camshaft manufacturer on the planet is using to grind your new camshaft. This is what was used to grind all 3 cams entered in the contest, 2 of which are from me, my spec, my entry. 1 other cam, we ground it, but it was for another company. So it's not my entry, it's not my opening and closing events, it's theirs, we just ground it for them. So that is a UGL. This is a spool. So the whole spool has been roughed in, the gear has been hobbed, but this spool hasn't been heat treated. You can't heat treat it yet. So it has to be roughed in, lobe milled, rough ground, whatever how you want to get there. It's got to be roughed in, and then when it's roughed in, it'll have to be sent to heat treat. It'll have to be heat treated. It'll come back from heat treat. The core will be straightened. All the mains will be ground. The nose will be ground. The faces will be ground. And then it's ready to finish grind by the manufacturer, or it's ready to, for, you know, like a grinder like us to purchase and then finish grind it. So that's how that works. You know, people, unfortunately, you know, in this day and age, you can be stupid on purpose. The information, all this guy would have had to done was watch a couple of our videos, and all of this information would have been crystal clear, and there would have been no guesswork. But we're gonna get on into some more nonsensical stuff that he says. So let's carry on here with the video.
Read the dyno graphs and what you can do to manipulate your cam or other components within the engine to create more power specific to the components that you have chosen. So to start off with, it makes me cringe when I see machinists taking an older cam and regrinding it.
So he's talking about me.
It just makes me cringe.
I'm making him cringe.
Especially when it's coming to the point where the cam, the final product, after being fixed, is being entered into a competition.
So he's absolutely just making stuff up. 100% to this point, he's absolutely just making stuff up thus far.
The initial original grind of the camshaft is going to be much more precise and a higher performance piece than if you take a cam that's already been used, taken out and reground.
So this is absolutely pure fantasy land. Where he concluded this information, I have no idea. I mean, I'm looking at a guy that looks like he's sitting in his carport. We got no data, no cam doctor report, no derivatives. We don't see any velocity profiles. I mean, he's just absolutely making stuff up. Absolutely. There is no, I can take a cam and regrind it 9 times, and the 9th time it will be as accurate as it was the first time. This just proves that this guy has absolutely no idea about cam grinding, cam profiles, or anything else, probably. But for sure, he doesn't know anything about cam grinding, because this is all just absolute pure fantasy.
And it comes down to the locations of the cam lobe that are actually addressed with regrinding.
So here we go again. So whether or not, again, this is just more internet, I swear, man, it just don't even make no sense how people can just get on the internet and just make up stuff. The lobe positioning, as you have seen in multiple cam videos that I have done, the positioning accuracy is determined by the index plate. The index plate and the master lobe profile. So, again, the camshaft and or the grinder doesn't know if it's a new cam being ground or if it's a regrind. The machine does not care. The machine only produces what the master profile and the index plate determines. There are no other variables. It just reproduces the master plate and the index plate, period. Other than that, it's just along for the ride.
I'm just gonna make a really generic drawing of a cam lobe. Oh, I forgot one other thing we're going to include here today. We're going to be talking about 4-phase camshafts. Okay?
4-phase.
Right?
Super
no one in this
secret.
competition so far has entered in a camshaft as a 4-phase camshaft.
How does he know that?
I'm extremely surprised. Now, with that, back to the cam lobe profile. When you start out with a blank of a camshaft, the diameter of the blank is the same as basically the finished product of the cam bearing side.
That is incorrect again. So 95% of the time, the heel to toe dimension, the dimension from here to here, this lobe will actually be taller than this journal. Why is that? Because when we finish grinding it, we want this lobe to be just under this journal. So if we start off with it already the same size, it's going to be way under the journal when it's done. I mean, unless you got a core that is absolutely the same exact spec as your finished grind. So, and I mean, that almost never happens. So that's not an accurate statement. Almost every core that we have made, we have the heel to toe figured to where the top of the lobe is taller than the journal on purpose. And so does everybody else.
The grinding removes material to create the cam lobe. And the base circle, typically starting out with the largest base circles you possibly can, will allow your top end to be more under control. Because with a bigger base...
What does that mean? Top end more under control. Like define what that means. You know, people make all kind of statements on the internet, but we never get like, what do you mean under control? What's out of control? I mean, for instance, if that was the case, then all 900 base circle small block Chevrolet race cams would just be out of control at the top end, right? Because they got the smallest base circle out of the whole system of cams in the world. A 900 base circle small block Chevrolet is the smallest base circle made. And they're stable, no issue. I've got plenty of 434s going up and down the track, shifting at 7,500, 8,200. Cams got no problems, lifters got no problems. So again, we're just making more stuff up.
Circle, you can still have the same duration and the same lift, but the ramp profile is more conservative.
All right, again, ramp profile. So he doesn't know what a ramp is. Go to, I will post it on the screen, watch this video. It will explain. If you've already watched this video, you obviously know what a ramp is and a flank, and a bunch of people that pretend they know stuff about stuff, they're calling the flank the ramp, and it's not the ramp. It's a flank or a main event. And what happens, well, let's finish what he's saying, and then I'm going to tell you what really happens.
It will allow your other components of your engine to function with higher RPM. When you take an older camshaft or an original cam and you regrind it, there are certain areas that get more attention than others. You remove more material from them because of the wear and tear, either from the flat tappet or the roller.
It's absolutely not. This is more fantasy. If you have, again, we got plenty of videos that talk about this on our Powell Cams page. Please go watch them and educate yourself on this information. But if you have an existing Lobe that has 300 Lobe lift, and the Lobe you want to put on it has 320 Lobe lift, it's going to remove material on the base circle. If you have an existing cam that has 400 Lobe lift and your new Lobe is 380 Lobe lift, it's going to remove material from the nose of the cam. If your existing cam has 250 degrees of duration and your new profile is 240 degrees of duration, it's going to remove material from both flanks. This is just how it works. It's simple geometry. There is no snake oil involved. So what he's talking about is just not accurate at all. I mean, we are dealing with, we're taking a shape and we're turning it into valve motion, period. It's not voodoo, people.
The base circle and the ramp, the crest of your maximum peak, are the areas that normally get touched up.
No, again, no. So he just called the nose radius the ramp. So obviously he just has no idea of even camshaft basics. The nose is not the crest, it's not the ramp, it's not the filibuster or the wobbling shaft or the wiggling pin. It's the nose radius. You have a base circle, you have a nose radius, and you have flanks. and you have opening and closing ramps. You know, I've explained all this stuff. It's elementary. It's just, yeah.
Okay, that should go without saying.
It should not go without saying.
Just a little bit about machine shops. When
No.
they're regrinding cams, the actual ramp profile is not what they're being guided.
Ramp profile and guided. Again, you've seen it multiple times. The only thing that's happening is the machine is following a precision ground master design, period. I mean, he's just making up words.
Okay, this is the difference. I'm not going to toot my horn here, but this is the difference of some of the practices that we did manufacturing brand new camshafts for a custom engine.
Oh, he's a brand new cam manufacturer for custom engines. That's okay.
When you're taking an old camshaft and regrinding it to resurface it, you're reducing the base circle and you're reducing the actual crown of the lobe more than you are addressing the actual ramp.
Yeah.
Okay, so typically,
so right there, he thinks the flank is the ramp. So, I mean, yeah.
Or the cam is being spun in the grinder. It's removing material from the base circle and the top. as it goes on, removing material, before it starts to remove.
Oh, one thing I should say right here, one thing I should say. So the only time that there's any deviation, it's going to take some here or there or over yonder, is going to be when the profile is different in some way, right? So, for instance, if somebody has one of our cams, say it's 230 at 50, 354 Lobe lift, right? And they run it for a while and whatever, something happens and it, tracks up a lobe or something, a lifter problem or whatever. And they send it back to me and they say, hey man, I want you to touch this lobe up and, we're going to get new lifters and we're going to go again. Sure, no problem. If I put that cam in the grinder and I put machinist blue on it so you can see it and it's all pretty, and I index it in and I put the original master back on the machine, it's gonna touch 360 degrees of that lobe immediately, because the profile we're grinding on it is the same profile that was already on the lobe to start with. The only time there's gonna be deviation is when you have more or less lobe lift or more or less duration, period. And I explained earlier where it's going to touch first, if this or that or the other thing. So if you, I just don't understand. So let's carry on.
The ramp material, the lobe is actually a lot smaller.
So just to address that statement, the lobe is a lot smaller. So if you've seen multiple of my regrind videos, and most of the regrinds, not all, but most of the regrinds we do are higher end solid roller stuff. And 9 times out of 10, I measure the lobe before we start and I measure it after we get done. And rarely, I'm talking heel to toe, not base circle diameter, the full heel to toe dimension. Rarely do we ever move more than 20 thousandths. So I have had some 25 or 30, but most stuff I can clean it up somewhere between 15 and 25 thousandths total heel to toe. And that's only going to change the base circle diameter 10 or 15 thousandths, right? I mean, it's nothing. 10 or 15 thousandths is nothing. Nobody on the planet is ever going to know any difference. The lifter won't know, the motor won't know, your cousin's Uncle Bob won't know.
The nature of the aggressive ramp, so that's the entire lobe.
No, the ramp is not the entire lobe. We've been through this 1,000 times. The ramp is a teeny area that's just a few degrees right off the base circle before the main event. It is a low velocity area for the lifter to be able to go from no acceleration to a positive acceleration, period.
The lift to the seat has been increased and will reduce the amount of rigidity,
rigidity.
It reduces it increases the amount of, I got so many things in my mind here. When you regrind it, it's removing material from the base circle and over the ramp, the entire lobe becomes more aggressive.
No, it doesn't. What does happen, again, not with a regrind, because again, it's just nonsense. But for instance, say you have 2 lobes that are identical, lift and duration. So say it's 450 lobe lift and 280 duration. One lobe has a 1 in 300 base circle and one has a 900 base circle. What's different? Why is it different? So what's different is the pressure angle. So the lifter is further out of the bore, and the pressure angle, right? The lifter to the side of the cam, the pressure angle is much steeper, so it's side loading the cam, it's side loading the lifter, and also, and the only way we can facilitate a larger diameter lobe is with a larger journal, except for if we're talking about a small block Chevrolet with a 4-inch crank with a 900 base circle. So, but the problem is 900 base circle, 450 lift. I think I even got some stuff that's like 460, 465 lobe lift in 900 base circle bracket motors. This living. I mean, we got a local guy that's been running a cam and lifters for 5 years now, and the cam looks like brand new, no issues, and they spinning it 72, 7300 all the time, no issues. So would a larger base circle be better on the lifter? Absolutely, but it's still not problematic if the lobe design is proper, it's a quality lifter, and the valve train geometry is happy. It just works. And I mean, we see it all the time.
Not in a good way. Aggressive ram profiles will normally function or lift the valve away from the seat faster. That is very true when you regrind a cam. It's taken to the extent where you're going to introduce other problems.
Again, so one thing that I will say, that his point is not valid, but if you want to go to an extreme example, say, and this only applies with manual grinders. So say that you had a lobe designed for an inch, and I'm just making extremes here. It's designed for 1.5 inch base circle, and it's a pretty aggressive lobe. I mean, it's some, you know, I don't know, 60 or 70 millimeter big block top fuel dragster, you know, right? It's got, I ain't even gonna put a number on it, but it's got really high positive acceleration, blah, blah, blah. And you took that lobe, that master plate, and you ground that design onto a small block Chevrolet 900 base circle. So you just reduced the base circle 600 thousandths. Now, if you did that, that would be a problem. It would be way too fast. It would be way too aggressive. The positive acceleration would probably be, you know, up in the teens. I mean, it would just be blowing valve springs up, right? That is an extreme example that will never happen in real life. What will happen in real life is you take a master plate designed for, let's just say, 1-inch base circle, and you regrind the cam, and now it's 990 base circle. Did any velocity profile change? No, it didn't. I mean, it's so minute that nothing changed. It's just, again, we're just making stuff up.
And for cam manufacturers, many of the competitors entering in cams to the Eric Weingartner test, they're using reground cams.
Again, well, just fantasy.
If you're competing for maximum power, if you're competing for money, okay, and to promote...
And again, I think I've been clear about the money. I'm not going to say anything about it, but I think I've been extremely clear and transparent about the money.
Your business or your name or your manufacturing, why would you ever use a reground cam?
We wouldn't.
You would want to use a virgin cam.
We did.
With the largest base circle and the most laxative turnover of the crown of the lobe.
I don't even know what that means.
It's going to be easier on valve train components. It's also, once we get into the read of the dyno graphs, you're going to see the difference between these two and why you would actually want to use a virgin cam, especially within competition. Now, Brent from Likens Motorsports also has entered in a cam. He has not shared
I like
whether or
Brent. He's a
not
good
it's
dude.
a virgin cam or if it's a regrind. But there are two, now let's see here, actually three cams from one
He's talking about
machine
me.
shop, and at least one from another YouTube creator that are regrinds.
And again, I don't know how he'd come up with that
if they've
information.
chosen the most proper lift or duration or lobe separation angle. The cams right away have something working against them because they're reground. Now, I'm sure that I'm going to have these individuals commenting in, or anybody that follows along with them, be like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah,
okay?
you don't. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh.
I'm going to give you one example that is part of the elite of the performance industry.
Elite.
If you guys look at the NASCAR engines throughout the years, from the 1980s to modern day engines, they use a much larger core, and the base circle of those camshafts are just a few thousandths below the actual bearing size.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Now, typically the actual camshaft tunnel isn't large because of the roller bearings that they're using. But even still, if you're using a large diameter core, cam core, your base circles should be as close to that diameter as possible.
So keep in mind that LS has a 55 millimeter core. It's huge. It's bigger than a small block. It's bigger than a big block. It's big. It's bigger than a big block Ford. It's bigger than a FE Ford. It's big. I mean, it's a big core. It's a big rigid core. And, generally speaking, most LSs are going to come out in the hydraulics, are going to come out somewhere between a 1 in 400 and a 1 in 450 diameter base circle. Compare that to the same cam specs in a small block Chevy. Those are going to come out somewhere in the 1 inch and 50 to 1 inch and 150. So basically, round it off to 1 inch and 1/8. So we're talking about 1 inch and 1/8 base circle to 1 inch and 7/16 base circle. I mean, it's a massive difference. And that's one reason why the LS has such a nice valve, and the valve train is really light. You just don't need a lot of spring. The valves are small stem. A lot of them are hollow, or you can get hollow stems. So the valve train mass is low. You can run a relatively aggressive lobe. When I say aggressive, I mean positive acceleration. Some people, they use words like aggressive to deter, talking about duration or lift, and that doesn't really tell us about how aggressive the lobe is. The velocity profile, the acceleration profile, that's what tells us how aggressive that cam is. And you can look at, the 6, the 50, the 20, and look at intensity and tell a lot of things, but anyway. So we already working with a nice platform. So even if, again, it's not a regrind, but even if it was a regrind, it's still fine. I mean, we're still a good size base circle with a big core. It's not a problem. But I assure you, all of our cams that we sell are brand new billets, never been ground before in their life. Now, we do a lot of regrinds for tons of shops, tons of racers, and we're proud to do it, and it works, and we understand the heat treat, and we can check the heat treat and all of that stuff. So, that's just smoke and mirrors.
Every time you regrind it, you're actually taking a step down in the performance capability of the cam.
No.
Leave out the lift and duration. The actual cam lobe profile is being directed in a way that's going to be more abusive to all the engine components. Okay? So Whether or not you believe me or not, you can add into the comments below whether you think that's a big deal or not. For this combination would be a 4-phase cam.
So what he's talking about is, some people's heard of this, some people ain't, and Comp done it a while back, and it was going to be a big thing, and it kind of petered out. So what they would do is they would add 5 degrees of duration to the 4 corner cylinders. So because those were the furthest away, so they added 4. So they had 4 different durations for the whole. You got like we always grind now a split pattern cam, right? So the exhaust always has more duration than the intake, and depending on the engine family and what we're doing with it and this, that, and the other, it might be 4 or 5 degrees, it might be 10 degrees, it might be 15 degrees. Some blower applications we might do 18 or 20 degrees. It just depends. But Comp would do that, plus they would add larger duration on the 4 corners, right? So, you might have 220, 225 on the center and have 225, 230 on the corners, right? Or some variation of that scenario. And all that's great and cool. And he goes on to say, because it's a single 4-barrel intake, even though the cylinder head's symmetrical, that, it's going to have a 4, he calls it a 4-phase, a 4-pattern cam, and that's going to be optimal, and it's going to, do the deal, and that's the best thing. And that just kind of, to me, that sort of shows that he's probably never seen any real data logs or dyno test with 8 O2 sensors, because I've seen, for instance, X motor with X camshaft, number 6 cylinder is extremely lean, and all the rest are fine, and this one cylinder is lean. And do a cam swap, still a standard type cam, not no 4-phase deal, and put another cam in, and now all the cylinders are happy. So there's so many signal things going on in the intake, and even though you can flow it to death and do all of this work and try to equalize and optimize and all of that stuff, and like I remember back in the day, the 2300 Fords, they were horrible about distribution, and I think Esslinger come up with a little dam to go in the intake that would help that problem, and it really did, and so there's ways, but it's a distribution problem normally with the intake and the signal, and trying to fix the problem with the cam is just, it's like adding a quart of oil to an oil leak. I mean, you might make it better and you might not. You don't know, because I've seen the problem get fixed by just swapping to a different split pattern cam. Sorry, camera took a dump. But yeah, it was not a four pattern cam. It was just a standard cam, and so. I think possibly, especially in a big block, because of the different runners and how they flow, they could possibly be some real advantage in a big block Chevrolet with a conventional cylinder head. But outside of that, I think it would take a lot of dedicated testing to make any real statements that are factual and not just pure speculation. So I think that he says some more stuff, but I think you get the gist. But it just kind of irritated me, because like several people sent me this stuff, and he's talking, and basically, he's making people think that we just regrind cams and we selling people regrind cams, and that's just false. Number one, it's false information, and then the other thing, a lot of this stuff he's telling you is just not true. I mean, it's just not true. I mean, I can factually prove it, and if you don't believe me, get in your car and ride down and I'll show you in real life. I mean, I actually grind cams. Everybody else, they get cams ground. I grind cams. So, you know, when people say stuff, you know, can you back it up? I mean, where's your shop? Where is your equipment? And where's all your YouTube videos proving it? And so, if we don't have any of that, then I would say, you know, maybe sit down and pay attention, and instead of just talking about stuff you don't know what you're talking about. So, yep, that's my clap back. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I just wanted to put that to bed. Because like I say, I just, you know, it's one thing, I don't care, you can have all kind of opinions about stuff, and I'll try not to bother you unless it's just something I see and people ask me about it, and then I may or may not choose to give my opinion or, you know, whatever, how it works. But when you bring me into something and start saying things that are not true, then we got a problem. So I just wanted to clarify for all of the people that, you know, watch my channel and then obviously watch this dude. I hope you will stop doing that, because it's not helping you for sure. But you know, it is what it is, and I hope that clarifies my side of this deal. Have a great weekend. I can't wait for this test and see how it goes, and you know, hopefully we all gonna learn some valuable information, and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget, some people ask me, so we got two channels, right? We got the Powell Machine Inc. channel, and we got Powell Cams. And the Powell Cams is still growing, and the subscribers are coming. It's all good. But I've been cross-posting some stuff because it hadn't been getting, you know, a lot of views on the Cam channel. So, you know, give us some love over there if you can. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on the next one.